Thanks for joining us for Issues and Answers. I'm Ian Boyne. Today we speak to the recently appointed National Security Advisor, Major General Anthony Anderson. We thank you so much for your company. Major General, good to have you on the program.
Thank you.
And it's good to have you in your first media interview since your recent appointment.
Yes, it is.
Major General, the country is obsessed with the issue of national security, but more particularly crime. But what many would be saying is, do we need more advice? Do we need another advisor? Isn't what we need action, not more words or advice? How would you justify your office?
Okay. Yes, we need to continue to have action, and there is a lot of action that takes place in the national security realm. But perhaps what we need as well is a lot of coordination between security entities, and there are quite a number of them in our structure, in our security architecture. And also at the Office of the Prime Minister, it's important, and the Prime Minister has made it clear that he has a particular interest in the safety and security of his citizens. And it's important that he has technical advice as he makes decisions in the national interest relating to security. So to a large extent, I'll be bringing that support to him in terms of technical advice. I'll also be looking at some of the issues surrounding the IMF standby agreement that deals with crime and security, and working with people like the Ministry of National Security and other entities who all need to come together to get these things done. And I think that's where I come in, to add some coordination, some synchronize things a bit, have discussions, and look at things in another way, and support the efforts of people who are in the grind every day. One of the challenges with our security architecture and our agencies is that the immediate is so pressing all the time because of our crime situation, because of perceptions of safety or not, that it's very difficult for somebody who's in one of those positions to be strategic, to look at medium-term objectives, to implement changes that are required, and to create the synergies. You're busy working, doing what affects you now. So
and sometimes it's a matter of paying more attention to the urgent over the more important.
Quite often.
So you will bring that expertise, that technical guidance to the Prime Minister as National Security Advisor.
And the National Security Council.
Yeah, and the National Security Council.
Yes.
And provide the important coordination that is needed to the various ministries and agencies that deal with security.
And this is the point. All of these ministries and agencies are actually doing fantastic work. I mean, sometimes they get a bad rap, but they're all doing a lot of work. It's just how do we get all of that work to work together and make it, get the synergy from the spend and the synergy from the talent that exists out there that is being applied.
And what kind of impact are you hoping to have? How would this coordination result in increased, better security?
Well, I think first thing we have to just think of security as a broader thing than just crime. I mean, I think that is important.
It's defined.
So in the broad sense of security, we have to look at what's facing our partners, what's facing the rest of the world, our region, the concerns there, our concerns with our brothers and sisters down in Trinidad with their own issues, with their returning foreign fighters.
So the issue of terrorism is a big one.
Well, it's one that can't be ignored by anyone, or you ignore it at your peril. And as I've said, crime is like a slow onset disaster. It saps away at your society. And I'm talking about a macro level. Obviously, the persons who have faced it's very personal, immediate, and urgent. But as a society, it saps away at your ability to get things done. And that's reflected in your growth figures, it's reflected in your economics, etc. Terrorism is like an earthquake.
Yes.
It's a rapid onset disaster. Today, all your figures are saying one thing, and you have an incident, and tomorrow they're all saying a different thing. We were just celebrating recently having a cruise ship in every pier, including in every harbor, including in Kingston, on the same day. That's great.
Yes,
but we have to protect that. We have to ensure that those ships coming in feel they're coming to a safe place. And we have to think about these things. And the fact of the matter is that you can't guarantee that you can stop everything from happening. But what response do you have to it? How coordinated is that response? How does it look internationally when you're looking at Jamaica? Does it look like a country that's organized, that can respond correctly, can speak to the issues properly, or not? And those are that is how you deal with recovery. That's how you deal with people's confidence in your capacity.
And so our quest for economic prosperity is intimately connected with our security arrangements and the perceptions internationally of those arrangements.
Yes.
When we come back, we want to explore that. We're speaking to the former Chief of Defense Staff and Major General Anthony Anderson, recently appointed as National Security Advisor operating out of the office of the Prime Minister. We take a break, but we'll be right back.
I'm young, gifted, and violence-free.
I will stand up for peace.
No matter what you say,
You can't take that away.
I'm young,
gifted, and violence-free.
I choose to live.
I choose to be me.
Jamaica's first National Security Advisor, Major General Anthony Anderson, giving his first media interview on Issues and Answers. Major General, the connection between economics and national security. You gave us an excellent example of the four ships coming in different ports and the security implications of that. How important is it that we are perceived to having the proper national security infrastructure?
Well, it's hugely significant because obviously one of the responsibilities of any sort of cruise ship line, anybody seeking to bring tourists to Jamaica, is their safety. And that's that will be of great concern to them. So apart from the issues of crime, the larger issues that we just spoke about, the rapid onset, almost existential issues that shake the foundations of your economy instantly are also important. And this is not taking away from the urgency to deal with crime. And we have a lot of people doing a lot of work on that. And we have measured, we have chosen to measure nationally crime as only a function of murders, which is a little narrow. But the reasons for that are obvious. That has the most significant effect on people, not just the people who are killed, obviously, but the people around them.
Major General, how has your experience prepared you for the job? I know you did an important stint in CARICOM. Perhaps we could start there and give us some other indications of your preparedness for the job.
Okay. Well, obviously, I spent a long time in the security world.
Is it 32 years in
32
in the
plus,
Army?
a little over 32 years. And a lot of that career has been working with the Constabulary Force, supporting them on various types of operations. Also deployments in natural disasters, and that's both in Jamaica and out of Jamaica. And then in 2006, when the security arrangements that were being developed around the hosting of Cricket World Cup 2007, I was seconded or posted down to the Eastern Caribbean, to Trinidad in particular, to head a group that was going to plan all of the national security, and I say national, that in the various countries hosting those national security efforts, and work with the security organizations in those countries to coordinate the efforts. If you remember, we actually created a single domestic space for a short period of time, where travel between those countries was actually internal travel, was local travel. So we had to move security from the front end to allow the flow of significant numbers of people flowing through airports, seaports, etc., and move the security to the back end. So we were aware of what was happening, and it worked well. We knew more of what was going on, even though people were moving more freely at the time. We set up an architecture for the region that still obtains and can be used in the event of any sort of regional issue. And there are still meetings that occur between the heads of agencies across the region to ensure that we're moving the security agenda, the regional agenda ahead. So that was designed then, so it was quite a unique structure, and it was again credit to the willingness of our political leaders across the region, that they would go out on a limb, as it were, for the overall good, to create this single space and create the security structures that exist.
Major General, as you reflect on the importance of your office, the importance of the Prime Minister having access to this level of expertise in national security, was it somewhat of a risk that we had done without this office for so long?
Well, I think, yes. The actual office has come up, the idea of having it has come up in various documents, in various forms. It has been mooted over time. But it never actually happened. And I think what has happened now is, because of the clear connection between security and economics, or growth, and all the pieces attached to that.
And the IMF has taken an interest also.
And the IMF, we have now created a circumstance where we have held our own feet to the fire to hit deadlines, to get some things done.
Or there are certain benchmarks.
There are benchmarks.
In the agreement.
In the agreement.
Which have to do with security.
Which have to do with security.
Which your office is related to.
Which, of course, my office, as the principal advisory office to the Prime Minister, will be looking significantly at that. That will be one of our mandates, one of our first mandates, to work with the executing agencies on this to ensure that we hit these benchmarks. Now, I mean, the point of the matter is that these benchmarks are self-imposed.
What would be some of these benchmarks?
And well, there are a number of them, that mainly around things like the tabling of a new Constabulary Force Act come October. And there are a number of them. I mean, the documents are public document. But I think the main point is that has, you've made a commitment. And so you have now forced yourself
set up the mechanism
to do it, and set up the mechanisms and try and get as much talent into looking at the thing to hopefully, more than hopefully, to get it done. Because I think it's, you bring in the right people, it will happen. And obviously it's not something that I am going to do. I am going to be part of getting that done. I will, my piece is to ensure the Prime Minister and the National Security Council's intent is realized in these things.
And you'll be bringing in other talent
Of course.
to the office. You'll be bringing other persons
of course.
to work and to support.
Yes, of
you as
course.
National
It won't
Security
be
Advisor.
it won't be a big office, but it will be
Highly
a
technical
office. And you need people with technical capacity to look at issues, and there are issues that are not on the surface of them security issues, but actually can have a major impact on the security of the country. And because they don't fall perhaps squarely in the Ministry of National Security, those implications are lost, and so they fall between the cracks. Where hopefully what we will do is take that broad view, create the forum for agencies that don't normally interact, to coordinate some of our intelligence efforts to make sure that we have the best visibility that we can get. And that is obviously not just an internal thing, but an internal to external, external to internal thing as well with our partners, and provide the government with the best information to make decisions. I mean, that's what it's about.
Have you established a set of priorities as yet, or are you still working on those?
It's interesting. When you come to this job, the urgency of so many things cause you to, they also, they're all a high priority, So they will settle down. But what we do know, there are things that are benchmarked now that we have to hit. Then there are benchmarks we have to create for other things. Because, I mean, that's the model. If you know the model, not only in security, but generally. What you benchmark gets done. When you have a timeline, it forces you to do things because work expands to the time allocated. We know that.
Major General Anthony Anderson, we thank you very much
for
giving us your very first media interview since the appointment recently. Is the former Chief of Defense Staff, a man with considerable experience and expertise in the area of security. We thank you for your company. Next week we'll be back. Until then, Ian Bourne wishing you a pleasant day.